Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, this is going to be a nerdy one because we're going to be looking at guitar speaker cones. Now, I'm no expert historian when it comes to guitar speakers, but I believe where this all came about, or at least where it's most commonly spoken about nowadays, is the heavy magneted ceramic speakers that Celestion put out in the late 1960s, the G12Hs. Because when they put those speakers out, they made two different versions of them, the G12H 55Hz and the G12H 75Hz. Now, in theory, the number there refers to the resonant frequency of the speaker, and as you would imagine, the lower number of 55Hz was designed primarily for bass guitar, 4x12 bass cabinets, and the 75 was designed for electric guitar. But over the years, electric guitarists have adopted the G12H55 as their own, and guitarists have used both extensively in cabinets, mixing and matching and all that sort of stuff. And the reason this is such a hot topic is primarily down to Jimi Hendrix, because he was known to prefer the G12H speakers over the G12M, the sort of standard greenbacks. And there's been a lot of debate over the years whether he used 55s or 75s and all that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do today is, in that very luminous lime green cabinet over my shoulder there, I've put two speakers. I've put the Celestion Heritage G12H reissues in there. One 55Hz, one 75Hz. Now, you can't buy these speakers anymore, they've been discontinued, but plenty of other speaker manufacturers out there make speakers going between the 55 and the 75Hz cones, and some offer the different cone as an option. So what I'm going to do today is I've put identical mics in identical places, going to identical mic preamps on that cabinet, and I'm going to play a few things with a few different levels of gain, and then flip-flop between the 55Hz and the 75Hz G12H in the post-mix to see exactly what difference the cone makes, because they are identical in terms of chassis and magnet. The cone is all that is different. So if you are speccing up some speakers and you're custom ordering them, for example, and you get the option between the 55Hz and the 75Hz cone, what does that actually do to the sound of that speaker? So that's the question we're going to be trying to answer today. So fingers crossed, this should be an interesting one, folks. I can't wait to hear the results because I honestly don't know what's going to happen yet. So without further ado, here we go. there we are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath, let me know what you were hearing today. What differences were you picking up on between those two different cones? I love chatting nerd guitar stuff with you folks down in the comment sections. Now, my first observation is I'm surprised how similar those two cones sound to each other, given the huge amount of very heated debates I've read on forums over the years about those two cones. They really are very close to each other. We are talking subtle differences at best. And you could absolutely tell today that those are two identical speakers in terms of chassis and magnet, and the cone is the only different thing. We are talking very slight adjustments in EQ between the two. Now, the very obvious difference is, to my ears at least, the 55Hz cone has slightly more low end on it, which is absolutely understandable given that it was designed for bass guitar. The 75 had slightly less in comparison. So that's a very logical difference we could hear. But the other thing was they had slightly different mid-ranges on them. Now, these are woolly adjectives that don't really mean anything, but to my ears, the 55Hz had a slightly more woody mid-range, and the 75 had a slightly more sort of fizzy upper mid-range to it. But again, we are talking subtle differences and nothing that a quick tweak of your amp's EQ couldn't realistically compensate for. Now, today, I think with my Orange amp, which is quite a thick sounding amp, I was preferring the 75Hz version because it was just shelving off a little bit of that gloopy low end and adding a bit more kind of bite in the upper mid-range. And that shouldn't be surprising either, because the G12H 75Hz is the speaker most synonymous with the old 1970s Orange amps, so they do pair together really nicely. But if you're going with a company that's making you a pre-Roller Celestion G12H kind of replica, and they give you the option of those two different cones, there's very little between them. So I think it will ultimately depend which amplifier you're looking to pair it with and your personal preferences. But as always, folks, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment sections. I love getting your thoughts on all this sort of nerdy stuff. So thank you ever so much for watching, folks. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you and answered a few questions and put a few forum myths to bed, as it were. And please do carry on subscribing. I know I always say it, but it makes a huge difference when you subscribe. So thanks ever so much, folks, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.